way up that game. 7 deaths, I believe it was, 4 saves at the end of that, and understandably, not wanting to do that again.
Yeah, I think the struggle right now that I'm having with the way this draft's playing out is you have secured the conference up, but it does mean trading for the LLL, which is also another pretty high-impact champion. And I think, in general, I prefer the Xayah Kai'Sa matchup if you want to make the game about bottling, which I think both sides have been pretty content to do. That said, route with a more mobile champion, a champion that can protect itself, I would argue even better than Xayah in a lot of situations, with that extra mobility, with the invisibility and the cleanse. Maybe he can take over this game.
Yeah, I think Xayah also slightly better lane phase, but if Rout's read is, I win both sides of this matchup, I think I'm better than this guy in lane, and I feel like the Kai'Sa, like you said, is maybe covering for some of Slater's late game playmaking. It was what Slater also popped off on in his series yesterday. Maybe this is a takeaway as well, saying, okay, this was annoying. So this time around, you know, they have just straight up stolen the bot lane of GAM from last game, saying we're going to pilot this better. The only difference is Pallet going to be on the Rel most likely, though of course it could flex still technically to jungle. So.
Yeah, I think not necessarily. I mean, obviously Levi is fantastic. Play anything. He's played that one 4 times. But I would like to see him as something more impactful, more selfish is generally what I want to see from Levi as a player. Maybe that's fandom bias just because I remember him in his heyday of playmaking, but I like what Loud put together now. I think the Jarvan is an excellent addition. It was obviously banned in the previous pick ban phase by Loud to stop GAM from getting it later in the game. That's why they went for the Nocturne. But when you have a Xayah on the enemy team, it's nice. And in general, maybe this is one of those play-as champions that doesn't see more play in the Swift stage. I'm not sure. But this champ has looked damn good.
It's also a champion that can get outplayed if you're on top of your stuff. So I like the Syndra takeaway here to play into, because you can knock him out of his EQ combination. It will come up very quickly again once you have 2 items. That is usually pretty late into the game.
But you can also buffer it on the Jarvan and outplay the Syndra.
If you're cracked.
I don't actually think you can do it intentionally.
No,
maybe you can.
The Syndra has to E early, because if you are in your Q animation, it's not the hardest read.
Once the drag has begun, she can interrupt it on reaction if you're far enough.
Yeah.
So should be fine.
But that's something that Kadi was probably going to be able to do, because he looked fantastic on the Victor. He seemed on point that game. He was one of the question marks of the draft, and he came up big.
Yeah, that was the pick we were most skeptical about. So I think we're going to give him the benefit of the doubt this time around. Nico and Orianna banned away, trying to limit the safer control mage option. Orianna, one of the power picks of the patch overall. Clearly not powerful enough to be blinded in all situations, but definitely still a high-tier, S-tier mid laner.
Yeah, I think some of the weaknesses of Orianna still exist, which is with a lot of engaged tools. Her only defense is I have a ball on my head and I'm running kind of quick, and that can still be punched through. So no surprise. As well, individually, like we said, with the J4, you can stun him out of it, and Kadi's most played champion is the Syndra, so cool to see him back on that. Here we get the Wukong, also most played for Levi, so they're going back to a lot of comfort picks here. Actually, all these are their most played through Summer Split for GAM thus far. GAM,
maybe just trying to close it out clean. Playful for comfort, playful for execution. A lot of the game was just about individual skill. But the Olaf, it was banned previously. This time around, Robo's going to get a shot at it. You can do the Jarvan Thunderdome combo where you lock someone in with the Olaf.
Or lock him out and rage ping at your teammate.
Yep, Olaf's natural counter is a wall. Can't do it, hasn't been able to do it as long as he's been a champion. 2027, I'm sure they'll rework him and he'll have 6 dashes.
Hey,
but
Flash Ghost, man. Screw TP,
they're putting a lot of walls together to have an Olaf on their team. That's the only thing I will say. So again, we're in a situation where Loud has put a high burden of execution on themselves, and I respect it. But I am concerned.
They've opted into all this blind. We don't actually know what Kiai is playing yet. Of course, this is a pretty frustrating composition to play against, because if you take something range like a Gnar, let's say, if you go for that, yeah, you might be able to survive individually against Robo. You might be able to, as long as an axe doesn't land at you, play from range so you don't get chased out the whole lane. But then you're in mini Gnar when tons of resources are going to be flying up topside. That can help, like you said, lock the Gnar in with the Olaf, and then you have nowhere to go. So this is going to be a very high-pressure game on Kiaya here. They are sending all those resources top, most likely. Route and Sales going to be free-farming bot side, while Talia and Jarvan try to blow open the top side of the map is what this game plan is looking like.
Now, I think overall, Loud feel like they have a bit more of a stable composition. Certainly some more agency for Route in this game to follow up on the plays that his teammates are making, rather than just having to be a sole backliner. GAM have a fantastic wombo combo with this Wukong, Gnar, Rel. It's super disgusting if they can make it work. And I'll be honest, looking at their regional games, they can make it work. So Loud going to have to play with a certain level of respect, be diligent on their vision control. This is a game where I expect one team will just take over in the early game, because we haven't really seen a close early game from these teams yet. It's been super dominant from one side or the other.
No, and once again, it's similar story as the previous game where Loud will have a lot of the tools in their back pocket to do that early game, however they want to do it. And it will be reactions coming out of GAM. The difference is where that pressure is going to be going. A lot of it was on the bot side. The Atrix was on the weak side, just trying to survive. This time around, it's all going to be going to the top side. So different location of the game plan, but largely still a similar game plan of wanting to snowball early. Because if you're not able to do that, Olaf is going to have a really tough time team fighting into the rest of GAM.
Yeah. Tricky, tricky, tricky. I think it's tough when we come to a game like this. I think the best thing you can do as a fan and as a viewer is kind of reset expectations after that game one. We can't account for more mechanical misplays. Let's assume that everyone's coming back full steam ahead. If it happens, it happens. But I think that was kind of the biggest question coming out of game one. It's like, yeah, you can run it back. You can pick a composition that's high execution, but we're going to be skeptical.
And to be fair, both these teams have had moments that are brilliant, moments that come up short. GAM in their first series with that Baron buff, get caught out in the bot lane, game's over, and you never know what's going to happen. So I think this is a very interesting game to see how it's going to go.
And while this game is full of unknowns, one thing that's not unknown is what you will get if you connect your League of Legends account with Prime Gaming. You're going to get an exclusive emote. It's experimentation. So do that.
I'm rooting your fans.
Guaranteed input, guaranteed output, unlike League of Legends. Solo queue, you queue up, are you guaranteed to get LP? No, not so much. If you link your Prime account,
I'm guaranteed to be upset when I play the
solo queue. True.
Guaranteed to rage flash. Ooh,
that's important.
No, I'm not,
no, it's not. Don't do that.
Toxic. No,
Obey the summoner's code.
Is that still a thing? So I haven't made a new account in a while to see what the process is.
What do you mean? You have one account. Surely you wouldn't smurf.
Surely no one has other accounts.
No, we all have one account. And that's how it works. Robo on the top side, ready to contest a top side red buff start that is not happening.
I thought he might be just going to steal it away. They had enough vision down where they have a ward to know that there's no one up there. It does take some time, doesn't have teleport, but you can do some cheeky stuff with those level 1s on Olaf. If you want to just steal a red buff away, get low, run back into the lane, and use the red buff to heal up as well. Like, you can do some of that stuff, but not wanting to go full send on that cheese. Instead, just shows back up in the lane to get this XP right away.
An awkward early lane. See if Robo, who is not opted to take a TP, instead opting for the Ghost, can get something done here. Pull off in the early game if he hits axes and is willing to burn through that entire mana bar, as we might see right here, can just obliterate you in the early trades. But a whiffy on that axe is costing him.
Still not too bad. If you can land the axes, you can chase them down. You can proc the bone plating to make sure that you have the ability in the future to actually go ahead and do that. So I do like playing the matchup aggressively like that. You're going to trade back, but of course, Olaf, when he gets lower, actually gets bonuses for getting low. So you're mind controlling him into hitting you.
Are you telling me you're rewarded for losing trades?
Those are my favorite kind of champions.
Me too. The only ones I can play. Cough, cough, Neela, cough, cough. Neela said, very good. Anyway, early jungle pathing, red buff advantage, quick flash out from Levi. And again, Croc in these early levels. Doing good, leveraging his champion's early strengths well. Keep it going, Croc. Don't lose track. Don't get lost in the sauce.
I mean, that's exactly what you want to see. We talked about the pressure that's going to be on the top side of the map and how it's going to be going to Robo, but you can also use that pressure to go for invades, and Jarvan is an exceptionally good champion at that. You burn Levi's flash. Not like Wukong is a super proactive 3-6 jungler anyways, but just putting him on the back foot, putting him behind, getting that red buff away. Tinones, I think, had the inside track there before Kati got this shove now. So you can see them working together now. A 3-man pincer.
This is some clean League of Legends. You get bot prio, you got jungle advantage, you're going to flash and you get the slow first. Now trying to go for the knock-up, going to fish for the knockback. Kati just knowing he gets flash to safety, and instantly EQ in, the flick back. Oh my god, Loud! That was clean as hell.
The patience out of the Loud members to just run them down. Croc landing the W slow. I love it. Flash W on top and hold your EQ for the actual stun so he can't flash your CC. That was really, really well done.
Same thing in the Ahri game where they just walk at you menacingly and it's like burn your disengage ability or die. And in this case, he burned his disengage ability and died. Fantastic from Loud.
Did cost some resources, but something you're absolutely happy to do. Put this Syndra on the back foot. It's one of those areas where if you can break the Talia out, she's roaming all over the map, influencing these other lanes. That's exactly what you want to do. You don't want to get trapped in this lane phase versus the Syndra. And now, eventually, they'll be able to get this up to the top side. Really, really great play out of Croc and Sales. The combination there looked incredible.
Yep. And again, credit to Loud. A lot of these early games are so clean. leveraging whatever pressure point they have. In this game, it was top lane, and last game, it was bot lane to invade, put pressure on Levi, who has been playing a lot of these level 6 junglers to slow him down, transition that pressure into the mid lane, and in this case, 2 games in a row, essentially do the exact same play, but flipped, coming from the top side instead of the bottom side, finding that kill in the mid lane, setting themselves up for early success. The name of the game now, and the question on many Louds fans' minds, I'm sure, is can they transition it into something more?
This is something as a fan that can be extra frustrating when you see the high points and end up in winning positions to then later fall out of them. It's not just we weren't good enough or we got rolled the whole time. It's this like bitter regret of we could have won that game 1. We could be 1 game up right now and on the verge of moving to the promotion match into the main stage, the advancement match, excuse me, tomorrow.
It feels like a promotion.
You did a good job, you get a promotion.
Yeah.
The myth.
Ooh. That's going to be an interesting Phil topic. We're going to save that one.
You don't want to touch
later.
that one? You
no.
don't like that hot potato I threw at you?
No, no. You know, I'll leave that one for somebody else to touch on. Tinones touching on these minions, pushing them in, making his way down mid is Robo. He's going to heal up and wander back top. It looks like a frozen wave. Actually, Kiaya will start to push in soon, but an early boots too is no surprise. Force Kiaya to most likely do the same. And all is quiet across the map.
Level 6 coming in from Tinones, though, does mean that this is the part of the game where you will hopefully start jumping on top of Kiaya, or at least comboing with Jarvan in some capacity to make a play. Here this is, yet again, going to take another look at this one. Like we said, just really heads-up play. If you EQ in first, you get buffered out of it by Kati's E, so you just flash W and start autoing with red buff. That gives also a gap close for Seos to land up for the Ignite, and finally Kati has to flash away, and that's when you do your EQ combo. So just super, super well done. Love seeing that out of the team. Heads-up play, knowing what the enemy's options are and covering all of them.
Yeah, and there was really no right choice for Kati there. I think maybe even the flash, you could debate he didn't need to burn just to kind of accept his fate. Because the second the Rakan W's in, you're essentially saying, all right, use your ability now, or Jarvan will EQ after. So as long as you have 2 forms of CC there, there is actually no counterplay for Kati. There's nothing that can be done as long as Loud don't accidentally stack their abilities.
Or horribly miss them. Yeah.
Or horribly miss them. This one ability goes wide, but the Flag and Drag will not. Pallet still standing. Slater firing back here. Some good use of the feathers as Tinones spotted out by Levi. Early Talia damage solid, but not nearly enough to find a burst kill there.
Yeah, it's still nice by Levi to kind of spot him out, make sure that there's no wall coming in to show up in the bot side, turn that in from a 3v2 to a 4v2. Yeah, you're doing a good job keeping up with Robo. Robo's still getting all the CS, of course, but having pressure in this matchup that we thought would be maybe a little tough to get the counter pick. But
the big thing right now is Kiaya just really wants to shove this wave in. He has not had a chance to back yet. This is big. Immediate ult now coming in, forcing the flash out. Traded for Ghost. Heads up play from Robo, knowing he has the item advantage despite being at a health discrepancy. Olaf's still an absolute terror. And Kiaya not backing sooner, costing him pretty dearly in that exchange.
Yeah, I just wanted to get that wave in, greeting out for a little bit, gets punished. And this is one of those compositions where for Loud, tracking enemy flashes is absolutely massive, knowing if you can just hop on in there and blow all your cooldowns, blow somebody up. And now that Kiaya has no flash, it puts him on a 5-minute window where he has to be very aware of any time Tinones dips out of vision to the top side of the top mid lane, excuse me. He has at any moment to come flying up there, cut you off, and if your E is going to get burned early, you have no other escapes.
Something that has to be respected, and something that I'm curious to see if Loud are going to be able to capitalize on. Tinones, once again, he has mid-prio, has recently recalled, so can just start to wander towards the top side of the map, and look at that. Not even a minute later, they're ready to punish, and Kiaya, he wants to go place a little bit of vision. The rocks are already laid down. There's nowhere for him to go, but the flick back takes him away, and he can just hop over the wall. So, philosophy correct. Execution / damage output not significant. His route is now going to be in trouble here. Clean sidestep comes in. Shattering Strike instantly cleansed. Little Captain Jack there. Just to make it out.
Not quite a Captain Jack. I think I saw one frame of stun.
All right. All right. Calm down. No one even knows who that is, so I can make that reference free. I can just say anything's a Captain Jack. 80% of our viewership has
that
no idea
would
what that
pass
means.
by most people's Captain Jack. Technically, it was very, very clean, of course. Just nitpicking a little bit. And that's cool because there was a thread on Reddit actually talking about how many people remember that. I'll save that because there's a dive coming in.
Ooh, Flag and Drag with the flash to extend. Kiaya now in trouble. There's nowhere for him to go. He hops, skips, jumps, and dies. But he will get one back in return. Questionable. A little bit of a fumble there. But ultimately, while Jarvan does give up his life, and that gold is going to be nice for Kiaya to have, he's got no TP, which means free time for the tower for Mr. Broloff, who will grab 2 plates.
Absolutely still worth it. You're able to get the kill. and then the assist gold over, so it's a little bit more than just a 1-for-1 trade, plus denying all the minions, plus getting the turret plating down. Still worth it. Could have been a little bit more optimal if Robo, I think, tanked tower first. Jarvan's EQ flash being committed there means that he has no way out, but the knockup was clean. They get the kill, and like we said, absolutely still worth it.
Yeah, Gnar put behind in this matchup, gonna feel pretty bad, most certainly. We'll see what the early itemization is for Olaf. How aggressive, how lane focused is it? It looks like we're just gonna go Hydra.
The nice thing about trading Flash for Ghost as well, if you're playing the Olaf side of this matchup, is once that's going to be a faster cooldown for you, so you can just do that again, and then you have your Flash to follow his Flash later on. It becomes very difficult from behind for the Gnar to survive this matchup, especially if they're able to break the turret, so it becomes an even longer lane. Anytime you step forward, Robo can effectively chase you down if you have those summoners mismatched. So this is the game plan, once again for Loud, going extremely well.
Yeah, and this is part of the reason we saw the Olaf banned away. You know, one of these niche picks that can disrupt the flow of the game so well. Robo playing it well thus far, getting the support from his team to punish, and Gaia still finding decent trades, but it's hard. If you don't kill him on the all-in, he's going to heal up so quickly. He's got the Dorans, plus the Vamp Scepter, plus natural Olaf kit, so Gaia has to be ready to go all in, ready to pull the trigger, but Robo just walks up. You see C immune, immediately just flashes on top of him. Bit of a fumble though, and the axe not quite connecting, and now, ooh! Back Kiaya! Oh, he's gonna get blown! He's gonna last man on the top side of the map. Look at that Yordle go!
Which is the quote already. I'm not trapped in here with you, you're trapped in here with me! Kiaya surviving the instant Gnar ultimate as the J4 ult came through. Robo's ultimate timed out as well, so he was not CC immune. He got stunned up on the Jarvan wall there, and then that allowed Kiaya to turn that 2v1 around.
This man was assembled alternatively. He was built different. Shuts the play down, and what was a strong power point for Loud is now a lot harder, and Olaf is still stronger in the 1v1, but Gnar is sitting pretty now, getting closer to the Triforce, buying more and more components. The trades are going to be easier. So this is the first dive that comes through where he is able to get that kill back. And this, you know, while it does cost the Jarvan, as you highlighted, pretty well executed from Loud. Pretty straightforward, pretty clean.
Yeah, ideally, Robo takes her first, Jarvan survives, drop the Herald afterwards. Here's the second one where the axe missing lets the ultimate time out there, which then allows the Gnar ult to kill Robo, or at least stun him against the wall so then you can kill Croc and then chase down with the double buffs onto Robo as well. That was critical there. They might still struggle to get the kill anyways, but at least with the ultimate timing out, it becomes a lot easier for Kiaya to turn that one around.
Yeah. Oof. Big oof. That was the perfect Gnar series of plays. They're hitting you when you're mega. They're trying to run away from you when you're mini.
Yeah.
You got everything you want. Like, that is the picture perfect Gnar moment. You get the ult 2 into the wall, built by the Jarvan. It's awkward. It's awkward when your teammate brings the steel chair into the ring, and then your opponent uses the steel chair that your opponent brought.
I love how many wrestling puns we're making for the fact that neither of us watched.
I don't know either. It's so great. Conceptually, it's great. I just didn't have access to it as a kid. As Robo, he's getting walked on. Walk forward.
Getting killed.
And he's shielding. And he's... and again.
Oh, no.
Flashy is because Gnar built advantage in a play that absolutely did. And now
Let's play all up.
And this is similar to game one. The wheels came off a little bit earlier, a little bit more dramatic this time around, where Kiaya, as that focus point early on where they wanted to snowball this game, is now suddenly able to win the 1v1, especially when he had that red buff, and now at 4-1-0. Yeah. Probably has Triforce on his back and will be well ahead of the Olaf and continue to just kind of control the side lane. And suddenly, Tinones has to find other places to make plays on the map, maybe around bot lane, but that can be difficult against Xayah.
Well, and you're in a position now, as for Loud, where you need to start getting very creative with this Olaf, because the lane dominant version of this Olaf has now failed. So you need to find a way to abuse this kit elsewhere on the map, because you're not going to get it in the 1v1. Which is a tricky thing to do. And I got to say, a lot of people, you know, with all the Adam memes, they're going, Garen is the GN gods. I think Gnar here is... I don't know.
Olaf is the O in dogs as well. It's the other version of that meme that we haven't seen too much talked about. And there you see it. Not many buttons. You either run in and murder the person or you die is usually how Olaf is played. And that's why, like you said, trying to find ways to use this kit from behind in other places in the lane can be very, very difficult, or at least in 1v1s. It's kind of what you're built for, is not being able to be stopped with your ultimate.
Yeah, and I think if you treat the Olaf with respect, the Olaf will look useless for the rest of the game as you take a look at the Magic card lane economy snapshot. But Olaf is a champion, similar to the Darius, Garen, a lot of those other picks that we're talking about that have been showing up in Adam's champion. Well, now other champions as well as Robo, very much known for his Olaf. These are champions that if you forget about their impact or disrespect them, can still do a lot of work in teamfights.
And flashing back to game one, we memed about the snapshot looking not that bad for Robo, but he was actually getting trashed in that game as well. So it's a little surprising to see the game plan flip up to there, which seemed to be one of the strong points for GAM. And say, hey, this is now going to become our win condition. Not just we're going to put a little bit more resources into him, but this is the primary strategy of our composition. And Ki is showing, hey, probably not a good idea to attack me.
Yeah.
Maybe you focus on other parts of the map that you were winning earlier, such as the bot lane.
Yeah, and I feel for Tenones, who had a pretty solid Ahri game outside of that one hiccup where he just kind of wandered past Huracan. It's tough for him now because he really needs to be the one that can do a lot of this damage while Rout's just farming until Rout has 1 or 2 items, which is getting closer to. He's still quite a ways away from the worry for Twitch, but at least has the BF sword. He needs to be the one that does the damage here because the Jarvan's not super far ahead and the Olaf is not ahead, so that burst is going to have to come from him.
Does feel difficult when Rout once again becomes the guy who's supposed to win you the game in the mid to late game. Of course, Tenones can help down the front line members, but there's so much engaged, there's so much damage on the enemy team that even if you dodge out on the rail, here comes the Wukong, or watch out for them fishing with stuns, and oh, is that a Gnar getting Mega? I guess I gotta back up. There's all these tools available for GAM now that we're heading into the grouping portions of the game. You can see Loud doesn't even want to contest it. They're saying, okay, yeah, that Rift Herald's yours. When do you decide now is the time to group when you're already on the back foot against a team that's going to scale them?
It's a tricky question. It's a hard thing to navigate. And for Loud, we'll just hope that they can figure it out and they can solve the puzzle. Robo just taking a bit of a chunk here. In the 1v1 with ultimate, he can still do work against the Syndra. Has to be careful about when he chooses to ult, but Rout, the rest of Loud take control of the mid lane. Looks like they're trying to set up for Drake here. 5 seconds left till the Chem Tech. It's 1 Drake apiece. Neither side able to grab both of the early Drakes.
Yeah, Katia has TP, so able to finish farming that out. Grabs Oblivion a little interestingly, going for that second.
There is Gore Drinker. There's an Olaf. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, it's okay. I don't hate it. I know there's always the debate about
like who should get healing reduction, or do you mean the debate about how good is healing reduction?
How good is healing reduction? I feel like LS and I accidentally bullied the designers into improving the tooltip on healing reduction while talking about regen and stuff like that
because of second wind. Was that last year?
That was last year's champion where Silas would build,
every melee mid laner would have second wind and Dorans, and you'd heal like 200 health in the.
Yeah, exactly. So people were rushing Oblivion Orb. There was a whole debate, and it's still a bit of a debate, but I think here, maybe depending on the gold, and you're feeling like, hey, if we just crush them in one of these mid-game fights, it's over, and Loud has no way back in the game, and this is the best single PowerPoint item I can get, potentially, for a mid-game team fight.
And interesting, GAM, despite having priority there, didn't have to go for the Drake. Instead, they used their Herald to try to break in mid lane, seeing the Olaf is not in the area. The Crash plus the extra few autos should be able to clear this out. Wall coming in to stop them from going through is a nice heads-up play. It'll at least stop the mid lane tower from breaking. Olaf does now have a flanking angle, but he will be spotted on some vision. GAM, are they feeling confident enough to pull the trigger on this objective? Excellent use of the Void Seeker will spot out Cody.
Yeah, Olaf is in the flank, and I think GAM is at least partially aware of it. I don't think he's exactly spotted out quite now. You can see a question mark thing, assuming correctly where he is, but Gamera seemed content to take this one relatively slow. I thought they would have forced this objective a little bit harder and found someone to turn onto.
I guess their read is that they are not as strong. And Loud seem to share that read now as they kind of bully their way into position here.
Yeah, to be fair, the gold lead is about equal. The Dragons are equal as well.
Shotting Croc, and more than enough to come through there. Kiaya now unstoppable, just going to start to run forward. Flick back, disengage is there. GAM should just be able to take the objective for free. Robo still hovering around the bottom side of the pit, but the damage draft came up a little bit late, so I think Cody only got partial credit there for that unleashed power.
Yeah, there you see a very clean, easy play as Loud step forward. You're able to land some chunk damage down, stun him up, blow up Croc with no smite available, very easily taken there. And I can respect this. GAM is not under pressure to force the Dragon. We're saying, I thought they could start it. They can do this or that. They don't need to because they can just play this one slow.
Okay, they're going to try to lock him up. A nice flash out. Robo flashing to commit. This is crazy. This is very over-aggressive. They're going to try to make this work, but Robo's dead. That was a little sunken cost fallacy moment there. They committed the ulti, decided to commit the flash as well.
Yeah, that one reeks a little of desperation loud. Wheels are well and truly off at this point. Not able to contest the objective. You're going to drop free. You try and punish someone on the exit of the objective take. You end up still running into members who are also not finished exiting yet. End up in a 2v3 situation. Here you see it just Proc wanting to walk forward, get that E down over the wall for vision, puts it in range for that stun combination, well punished by Coffee on most players with Summer Slit. And then here, like we said, the objective seems to stop, you're trying to get this cheeky little kill, maybe if it's a little closer, you could lock them up in the lane, but then by the time you're flashing over the wall, people that you just saw finish the dragon, it's definitely over for them at that point. You could have been happy to just chunk out the Narg, get his one. Ooh, nice flash, good reaction speed, but not quite going to connect on the Kaguya. Flash is going to finish the Narg. Getting stronger and stronger trucks once again on the top side. Yeah, and these are the things, it's tough because I get the blood in the eyes of the moment as you go off there. If you get on top of your target, you can sit on top of the target, maybe you can turn around. That is the power of this pick, no matter how far behind it is, but still keep switching. Grab it down. And again, for Loud, can't afford to have many more moments like that in this game because Slater is continuing to scale up while essentially being part of very little of this game. And you still have TIA to worry about. The combo, the execution is so easy for games to get later in the game. Yes, Click, disrupting with the Unraveled Earth, but not quite as simple for a lot of this game once again. No, it does feel like at this point, it's only 1,000 gold. It's going to continue to inflate rapidly as the outer turret starts to drop. And spotted. Not quite able to see last minute stress. Well, you went there from Robo. I appreciate he's not giving up. Yeah, completely stepped off the gas here. Still trying to make plays, but like we said, the map pressure is completely on GAM's side now. They just dropped top turret. They're grouping up a little bit here around mid to finish this one off. Already weakened by the Riptail charge, this 5-man push. A little bit ahead of play. No medium wave here yet. Yeah, we're in this awkward period where the other side has such a commanding gold lead that everyone's going to go for Baron. Makes it a bit gold for either side. That said, yeah, both sides have a pretty good Baron clear. Obviously, Kaiser Passive and Zaya Feathers instead of 2 items are going to be strong. Currently, Raz is ahead. Talk about Rob being center of attention for this team. He is 2 items. He has an item advantage. There is a world where they can find a fight and leverage the strength. He lets get poked out here. It is difficult. Both sides mostly are just squaring up. Like, I feel like we've been stuck at the weigh-in portion of this MMA bout for quite some time. Yeah, they are staring each other down in the NA round, just punching fists at each other, being like, if you go on me, I'll knock you out. But then they both just agree to go back to the side, really push them again. There's no mutual objectives really on the table. Yes, Baron's up, but it's something that neither team is in a position to force down. And neither team side lanes particularly well. Of course, if Robo is way ahead, in these cases, Narc these long lanes, like you said, great. And from ahead, Narc can kind of do the same thing, but both are just kind of content to trade waves in the group. Yeah. That's what I'm asking, especially about the Rabbits overall, obviously. Aside from the sustains, you just delete waves so quickly. You don't have to interact. You can just show up, blue wave, get the hell out, steal a Gronk. And you can see, this sport's just hanging out. Power lives in this rush now. He pays rent here. Very expensive. And marketed as a studio apartment. It is not. It's a closet. It's a literal bush in a river. You show up, the listing had a beautiful picture of some other property that is adjacent to it. Beautiful lakeside view. So I was like, oh, we meant literally in the river. It's literally a swamp. You get this thing. That water's not clean. Robo's gonna walk in. He's gonna get some damage down, but that Nar's getting out because he's got no CC, and it looks like the trumpet has been sounded. It is time to get on that Baron. We gotta clear out the vision. And Slater, 2 items. Again, the boring quick play at Zaya eats neutral objectives. Interesting to see them not actually commit to this. Of course, Robo having no teleport means if you ever want to use that to hop away and brute force of the 4v5, they could have done it, but GAM, again, being slightly more risk-averse here, I think showing that the VCS is not just the jump into the enemy team, fight them. All I would say is if you watch this region's playoffs, half of the games end with one team 50-50 comparing. So, sometimes they like the risk, and right now they're going to flip it. GAM all coming in to split the team, 3 members in the pit. This is an opportunity for Loud. They come out and pull the trigger. Now we're shooting, walls fade away. Bit of a waste, gotta say. But they've at least zoned the game away, stopped them from taking the Baron. But not seeing that as a window opportunity to start fighting. Probably seeing this as a window opportunity to take a jungle camp, which he has no business taking. Croc, what are you doing?
Why are you there? GAM now stepping forward. Robo. Next on a long list of people who are just going to get taken out before this Baron gets started. GAM can turn back. It is now a jungle list contest. Coming in from the side of Loud.
Now, no jungler to do it. We'll see if they can win the fight. Still a lot of resources available to do so.
Knockback to Taylor's mistake. Immediate follow-up. Now counter again. Coming from Jake. Hit the backside. It's huge. Trying to get a lower damage. Slayer. Feather's going to fly right back up into the air. Route. Trying to re-engage. He doesn't have a mark on any key targets. TI now playing bouncer. Playing bodyguard. The rest of his waiting backline. There's so many blinking health bars.
I'm surprised they didn't go harder there. They were so close to finding so many kills. Everyone was low. Robo gets finished off in the backline. And the whole time I'm waiting for Rout's ultimate.
I thought he was going to go in and kill like 2 people.
I don't know if there was no plasma stacks on them, but he didn't feel like he was chasing as aggressively forward as I would have expected even in that situation. Even if you're not going to have your ultimate availability, you still have your flash.
And I kind of want to see, because I think you might be right in that, you know, we're criticizing assuming there were 5 stacks. They could have jumped in and killed 2 people and changed his life, but we can see this initial play. And Fuck, I want to love you for your early games, man, but this is the most consistent part of your gameplay thus far this day.
Even in the player camp, Sean put his hands on his head and immediately recognized the mistake. They did burn a ton of ultimates to kill him here. That's why I thought I was surprised to see the game go for this really aggressive turn here, because you don't have that many centers up. And then Route here, go! That was one time. I think Route has had an incredible tournament there. It was initially scary. There were feathers on the ground. He didn't want to run forward and get moved up. But I still think you gotta get a little bit more aggressive there, because you are losing this game. You are getting outscaled. You're not gonna get back into it by just playing slow and safe. You need to, at some point, pull the trigger on a risky play, just outhand the other person with flash available. You can ult into the back line, land a Q, flash forward, do some of this stuff, go invisible, do types of things that might have been the angle.
Quick math off the top of my head, Kaisa Q does a million damage, everyone there had 100 health. I feel like you're killing at least one person. Not sure if that math checks out, but that's the general sentiment. It's now Robo getting forced to the ult eventually. Once again, Levi now finds way to the back line. Route flashing out to safety, saves it in the last fight. It pays off here, he buys up a bit more time, but the fight still turning against them. GAM, 3 members instantly deleted. Now it is time for Baron. No longer a 50-50, no longer a risk, an easy take here.
Yeah, that might have been the moment. The previous Baron startup where Loud could have found their way into the game. GAM punishes them for having that slight moment of hesitation here. Camping the brush, but you're an Olaf. You don't camp brushes particularly well. No hard CC, no way out. So that leaves him forcing the ult to get away after copying over the wall. The rest of the team collapses, annihilate the back line. Fight instantly, split apart, no way out.
And this is tough. I was feeling optimistic for Loud after the last time these 2 teams faced. Yes, they got away with murder in that game. Solid. Across the board, Route looking good, but I think he's going to look back on that team fight where he didn't ult in. And I understand he wanted to keep for subs. But I think he's going to see that as a missed opportunity to potentially turn the game. Because as we said, it doesn't get easier if you don't fight. It's only getting worse now.
Yeah, I'm thinking at this point with the Baron buff down, 4K gold lead in the enemy team's favor, not to have too many ways to try and get back into this.
And I will say, credit to Slater coming into this matchup. I thought Route was heavily favored, but Slater doing incredibly well in our future matchup presented by Mercedes-Benz. Route, Slater, both stars for their teams, but Slater, I think, game not quite as reliant on him often, whereas Route has been kind of the end-all, be-all in many of these Loud games, and despite that, Slater's still showing up big.
And I think it's a good redemption story for him, as well as the BCS #1 seed as a whole. Capture mind back to MSI, where they were unceremoniously eliminated. They brought in Slater to help shore up some of those weaknesses. Yes, while day 1 was not it, since then he has done a lot better job, and he is helping the BCS #1 seed potentially advance now to a finals rematch. If you remember, Team Wales is waiting on the other side. That is the winner that they will have to face if they advance here out of the game, and a chance for redemption that they already beat this team domestically to come out as the #1 seed, and it's going to be a very interesting rematch if they can pull that off to then potentially advance to the Swiss stage.
2-0.
Yeah. I mean, Slater versus Arcus. Hey, incredible.
That's like, especially now with Slater performing better, Arcus is like one of the best, I think probably the best carry in plays thus far.
Best margin?
Best margin plays thus far?
Yeah, sir. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, 80 carry, correct me by that, not overall carry.
Yeah.
Here we are, game. Deja vu from game 1. Same sides, similar situation. Slowly, surely sieging. This time around, the PIF on the Gnar. A lot more free time. Step up here.
Now use the Baron buff up that cannon minion to pelt down the turret. Nice 4-1 setup here out of GAM. Don't have quite as many global tools available like they had in the previous game. Just doing a good job making sure that TIA plays safe in the mid lane while the forehand tries to sink the waves. I like this. Waiting for the mid lane and the bot lane to crash at the same time, though. Pallet,
Better knock up. How I can make it up safety.
Nice chunk of shield coming in there. Snar's finally gonna hit on the top side tower. But 2 waves are just deleted there by that top lane tier 2. So all money.
Whoa, now Croc getting the engage. They're ready to fall off. Robo, he's being countered by the wall. They just take it out so they don't get in. But it might just be too late. Levi here, turn around, player uncontested. Support down. And Levi goes again. The second stack of the ultimate Robo death from turn 1 back, but they do so much damage.
Oh my god!
Looking to take montage right. This is your time to shine, buddy. Whatever opportunities you might have had early in the game, it could have been better, it could have been cleaner, it could have been prettier, are gone now. If you want to turn it, see it. Doesn't want to take the risk, doesn't want to go in, doesn't have flash.
I don't know, looking a little tough here. I would have expected the all-in send. The rest of the team is in there, just go flying in, press the R, but get the shield, try to make something happen. Not going to do it this time around. It allows the rest of GAM to fight forward so safely, punishing Croc after that hard engage in there. They find these kills, they're trying to close the game for us. Slater feeling himself flat forward there. Having a very good game, 7-1-0, like we said. Redemption coming up big for him.
701? 614?
And it's only getting harder. So loud. And again,
Long kwenta yung ID ng loud?
you can always, someone get over aggressive, over eager, game to have more confident flashes forward, maybe more precarious situations. There's an opportunity for last turn. Certainly they still found a couple moments in the previous game, but there was just too big of a goal discrepancy by the time they did, and it might be similar to this one as well.
I mean, if you're tracking your ultimate timers, or excuse me, flat timers here, at least you can see that GAM has burned almost everything in that last exchange, and while they did get a lot of kills, they didn't break any inhibitors or even inhibitor turrets. So there's a bit of breathing room here for Loud. Down 9k, you know, to turn this game around here with a flash advantage. Able to maybe delete one person on the game side if you find an engage, but that is the most copium you'll be talking today, most likely.
Well, and, you know, I think this is tough if you're a Loud fan.
Because, you know, game 1, it was rough. You built a lead, but this game is just mostly domination. And it sucks to watch a game for 10 more minutes when you know that it's over already. So I hope for Loud and for the fans of Loud's sake, they get to put up one final fight. Maybe bring us to a game 3. I think that's a tough task, but at least have one good, clean fight and show us that they can go toe-to-toe with GAM.
I think this is the time to do it when the next Baron spawns in 40 seconds. Loud will have to contest that. GAM has no flashes this time around. If they pin themselves up against some walls, if, you know, Kati messes up his combo this one time, or maybe Slater's a little slow on the ultimate and Croc's knockup lands, maybe you can 100-0 someone this time around, but it is going to be difficult because GAM is checking all the boxes, putting wards out into the enemy jungle right before it spawns, keeping these waves pushed up during this time. So if Loud do want to contest, they have to walk so plainly through vision.
Yeah. And diligence and patience, I think, has been one of the biggest winning characteristics here in clans. You saw it in BDS yesterday, you're seeing it in GAM now. Getting these leads and just playing it out slow, playing it out clean, leaving as little room for the enemy team to find opportunities. And sometimes that'll cost you in the game of League of Legends where you're not capitalizing on your lead enough, but the luxury of GAM's composition and the incredible scaling that they have and the Wombo comp is, if you play clean, if you play disciplined, you're favored in just about every situation.
And even this, so heads up, knowing that you don't need to commit 5 people to do it, like you're talking about with how easily Xayah shreds Baron. Just have Kiaya tank it. Jungler playing zoning duty, everyone playing zoning duty, finish off the Baron. No contest even possible out of Loud.
Yeah, and I think that GAM, you talked about the flash cooldowns earlier, clearly not making any big, bold plays at this stage of the game. Diligent, again, careful around the Baron, but not going for anything crazy, not going for over-aggressive engages. Can't just wait for those flashes. Now have the Baron buff. In the duration of the Baron, the flashes will be up and available, and then if they want to go for an aggressive dive or try to find some of these picks, they absolutely can.
Yeah, they also have the Dragon swanning in 2 minutes Dracos. Maybe they get a Martini, they take it slow, you know, they're chilling this whole time. I would personally love to see them dive and kill the enemy team.
Yeah, again, as a play-by-play, at a certain point you're just making noise with your mouth to fill the space of nothingness in a game like this.
No, I mean, I think did a good job hitting the beats about how this is going to be redemption for GAM.
We told the story.
MSI redemption arc here, Slater stepping in.
Yeah, we need to see if there's another chapter here or if the book is already over.
This is that filler arc, you know?
Yeah.
Anime's waiting for the manga to put more out, so you have to go on some
Like the
random
beach
kooky
trip.
adventure. Yeah.
Go get a couple Caprese martinis. Caprese? What's that? That's Andrew.
No idea.
Favorite drink. Yeah, here we are. Slow siege. At a moment's notice, GAM can pull the trigger, or Loud could. But for Loud, they need more than just a good recon engage.
Tatlong ano?
Ralph
Apat.
did just finish off his 4th item there. Has armor pen now to punch through the Randuin's own Kiaya.
Slater marked up. Proc, maybe he finds an opportunity. Stun coming through, forced to flash out already. Slowly but surely, GAM move in. The wall behind them, but GAM do not care.
Easily stepping up, hitting this inhibitor. At some point, Loud, with the wall already committed, you think they're just going to have to go. Otherwise, GAM will just do this two or three more times with this Baron buff. Just walk up, hit your inhibitor, take it in front of your face. The game gets worse and worse from there. There's no point in time where it's going to get easier to make these sorts of plays happen for Loud. And if you're just assuming that GAM is going to walk too far forward for no reason, that is a bold bet to make.
I mean, the good news, honestly, and again, it's Cloud, silver lining, whatever, but if we go to a point in the game where Elder is on the board, that is where GAM have not pushed their advantage enough, because the only way you lose a game with this massive advantage, in my opinion, short of catastrophic misplays or outplays from the opposing team, is Elder getting stolen. That amount of combat power nullifies a ton of gold leads. And that said, that's 6 minutes away.
I was going to say, Dracos is signing up for 6 more minutes of Phil.
I am. Maybe
Here we
not.
go.
Yeah, uninterested in Phil. The rock's coming through. He just sidesteps and kills him. GAM now going to break in. Kiaya godlike. Levi going to go forward, knowing he has the full power of his team backing up behind him. Route. All or nothing now. An unfair task, certainly to put on one player's shoulders, but it's there all the same. GAM stepping in. Wave getting cleared, their due diligence. Kiaya flip back onto Croc. Croc trying to find the knockup. Route untouched to the backside for now. Maybe, just maybe they can get it done. Route continuing to auto left and right, but Levi just jumps right on top of him. He goes invisible. Kiaya still stepping in. There's just too many members standing. The damage is good, but it's not enough. GAM obliterating Loud, knocking them out of the tournament, securing themselves a spot into the best of 5, a chance to make it to the Swiss stage.
Revenge for the day 1-2-0. GAM takes Loud down this time around to stay alive in playing stage. Playing tomorrow in a BCS Finals rematch versus Team Wales. Winner advances on to Swiss stage. The dream still alive for the BCS #1 seed.
Certainly is. And again, the turnaround in performance in such a short period of time. Respect to GAM. The discipline we saw, clearly learning from their last matchup versus